Hello everyone, my name is Mojis. You're watching a Bitcoin bubble news channel. The code for everything, it's all connected. We all got the idea that things are the way they are. But why do these things have value going up? And why would a broken system do that? That's what I think most people don't get. Also, why does it hurt the US less? This movie is by Raoul Pal, and it's about why cryptocurrency is the best way to make money. What people have given us and how we can best use it shows us how he plans to get through the next market wave. Let's watch the video now. I've also been through this before. You made it very clear all of a sudden you understand you need to stop thinking about how you want the world to be. Take it as it is. It's like, oh, I'm so stupid when you do that. I was of the situation. The belief that things were so bad that they were actually making opportunities. People thought it meant the end of the world, but it didn't. The situation is so bad that everyone has a reason to keep it together. That was a huge realization for me. Another big realization that you and I had together was that the dollar is everything if 87% of world trade is in US dollars and the world owes more than 100% of its GDP in dollars alone, not counting other currencies. And everything else didn't matter. This is what everyone thinks about China. I saw that you were fighting the good fight and you and Michael Nikolikolis are friends. As you try to explain, it's like, okay, so the Chinese are going to stop using the dollar. They have a lot of dollar bills. How are they going to pay them all? In China, that includes the whole real estate market and most of the private sector. Everything is going to be blown up. So that's exactly what they don't want to happen. Indeed, if they did that, it would make the dollar stronger, not weaker. Because there aren't enough coins. Because there are even fewer dollars to go around. That lack needs to be summed up for people who don't know before we go into it. That is, it's a pretty well-known movie. If anyone is watching, all they have to do is look for Brent's name and Dollar Milkshake Theory. There are certain movies. The video has been watched a huge number of times. On its own, this piece is very well known. Just tell people what this is about in a few words. Just like you, I believe this is part of the everything code. We've talked about this. It's all connected. We all got the idea that things are the way they are. But why do these things have value going up? And why would a broken system do that? That's what I think most people don't get. Also, why does it hurt the US less? Late Friday afternoon, May 31st, investment company 21 Shares quickly asked the SEC to change the name of its planned spot Ethereum ETF and get rid of AR Invest. A spokeswoman for AR Invest confirmed that the company had reviewed its investment plan. The crypto community was worried about how the newly approved BF would work in the short run. In an interview on June 5th, Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, said that assets manager ETF approvals would take some time. It hasn't been approved by the SEC yet, so applicants AR Invest and 21 Shares will still be partners in their spot. The Bitcoin ETF began trading in January of this year. CryptoBiz also looks into Galaxy Digital's tokenized loan for Anoka Brands, which helps them raise money for the purchase of top software and Bitcoin. The biggest cryptocurrency had sudden price changes at the start of the trading day on Wall Street because of big data releases like the Consumer Price Index (CPI) and the Federal Reserve meeting to set interest rate policy. This was followed by a live stream with almost 1 million viewers where the price of GMD stock crashed. Not by chance did alt and Bitcoin's market caps drop by over $40 billion at the same time. There are, however, local lows for Bitcoin and Ethereum that the company sees as a good time to buy the dip because of possible Fed actions that favor risk assets, of which the US dollar is the most important. And there's a structural problem with the lack of dollars that means non-US banks have to print more dollars to make up for the lack of money to pay for dollars, right? Interest on dollars is something that everyone has to pay, and more debt means more interest payments. They don't have any money. They are unable to make dollars. They'd either have to take the money from the US or make more dollars available. You also make a very important point. It took me a while to get it. The Crisis of Global Capitalism by George Soros is something you should read again. He said that the Asian problem starts on the edges and ends in the middle. It seemed very smart, but I didn't really get it. I just said it over and over. In the end, though, the Asian crisis was caused by foreigners who borrowed too many dollars on the euro-dollar market. Their businesses had begun to slow down. The dollar bills were no longer payable, and they all blew up. In the end, it spread to the developed world and made people sick. A lot of things went wrong, including the Swiss banks bursting. To help people understand what you mean, there's a phrase that says when the US gets a cold, the world gets the flu, or whatever it is, right? or the US sneezes and everyone else gets sick. To say it again, the US is in charge of everything, even if it doesn't know or understand it. It is a part of this world reserve currency. And this is why I talk about world liquidity and how important it is it all fits together. That's really all that counts. That is all there is to it. And when the US started pulling back on cash last year, in 2022, everyone else can take money out of their own stuff. It's not good. The economy slowed down. If the US takes away cash, markets fall first because the value of the dollar goes down or up. As you said, taking those hard dollars out makes the dollar stronger. That means the prices of assets go down. The dollar gets stronger. After that time, though, things start to go crazy. The first ones were the area banks in the US. It doesn't usually happen in the US first, but it did. After that, it was Credit Suisse. Then there was the yen dollar. It's all the same thing. Also, people need to know that you are a world investor. It's true that the dollar is getting stronger. We're not saying that when it goes up even more, it's a disaster, but over time, it's always caused these problems. So where do you put your money if you're a foreign investor? And this is what people don't understand about how a dollar bull market works. They told you, Brent, you're a fucking moron when you said, well, US stocks are going up. Don't you see that everything is going to fall apart? You say no because everyone wants that drink. It's what all the world's capitals hate the most. That's because every other country has to deal with two currencies, and the US is the funding spigot, bringing dollars in and sending them out. The global business cycle is linked to all of these seesaws. The circle is being made by the fact that all of them are either making their currencies stronger or weaker. The loan cycle is the same thing over and over again. This cycle of funding is the dollar cycle and the business cycle. It's all caused by the need for a debt-based system to stay alive. I think another thing we learned is that the powerful people, like the central banks and states, know exactly what they're doing. And everyone on Twitter and in newsletters thinks they're all stupid and that we found it out. They're so very wrong. I'm beginning to think about the moral problem that central banks face. They planned for 2008 to be like 1929, and what they did that work was debase the currency and start a debt relief all over again. When you and I took a step back 10 years ago, we'd say, there's a debt jubilee. Then I saw that they did have a debt release. To put it another way, you're not paying interest. We're not any of them. Okay, no more trouble with that now. This market for euros and dollars means that no one has to pay interest rates for a while. Okay, that's what it was, even though they didn't say it that way. An up-to-date report from Reuters on June 7th. This is known in the U.S. crypto business as regulation by enforcement. The crypto industry criticized President Joe Biden last week over the VING resolution, which would have overturned the controversial U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Staff Accounting Bulletin SAB. No, 121. This bulletin says that institutions that hold crypto assets must list those holdings as liabilities on their balance sheets. This comes after Trump recently said a few things in public that showed he supported the crypto business. In this area, our country needs to be the best. In a post on Truth Social on May 25th, Trump said, "There is no second place